How was the experience of collaborating with these artists?
It's a new experience for us to work with 9 different stories, 9 different directors, 9 set of actors.
Navarasa was born out of that desire to support the industry, and we are happy that the industry came together, the leading directors, actors, everybody.
Now I've learned to like anthologies, I've learned to like long format films. So it is liberating that you can choose which way you want to go.
Huge task on our hands to manage anybody because they were giving to the industry spontaneously, willingly, on their own.
A.R. Rahman is a world icon. He's not my prodigy. He's an icon. Once it moves from a theater to an streaming platform, maybe the profile of the people who are watching it could change, but still in another way it does not change at all.
Manisa and Jayendra, welcome on Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you.
Manisa, you've been making films for a really long time now. Many a times people have said that your films have a lot of artistic appeal in them. I'm sure that many a times it must have been a tough task for you to maybe get into the commercial world, maybe the industry demands at times. When it comes to the OTT platform, there is no Damocles sword of a Friday when one has to sell tickets. Do you find that liberating in a way as an artist?
You have a story to say. It really boils down to that. And the struggle is to say it as well as you can. And once it moves from a theater to an streaming platform, maybe the profile of the people who are watching it could change, but still the struggle of telling a story effectively, telling a story truthfully, and being able to connect with people who are watching it is still the same. So in a way it's changed, but in another way it does not change at all.
All right, but many a times there are those because a lot of your films they've had a huge canvas, and a few of the filmmakers at times they have voiced their opinion that there are songs that have to be incorporated at times because of market compulsions and requirements. So I'm saying from that perspective, do you feel that maybe it's a bit liberating that you can make a good story the way you want to without having any of the
No, I've never felt that I was compelled to do anything. It was just what I like. I like entertainers. I like good films. And you like, now I've learned to like anthologies. I've learned to like long format films. So it is liberating that you can choose which way you want to go. And within that, you are free any which way.
Mr. Jayendra, please tell us something about the wonderful cause that you guys are espousing. I believe that this is for the cine workers in Tamil Nadu who have been afflicted by the pandemic. Could you please give us a few more details, please?
I think the cinema industry has been the worst affected during the pandemic in terms of they went without work for a very, very long time. And I think it is one of the industries where there is a very large workforce, and that large workforce, when it goes without work, can be a very troublesome life. So Mani and me, we were at the beginning of the pandemic, guessed that it is going to be a long haul, and we should come up with something that supports the people of our industry. And Navarasa was born out of that desire to support the industry, and we are happy that the industry came together. The leading directors, actors, everybody came together to work pro bono for Navarasa to create this anthology that has come in the right time to support the industry.
Manisa, some of the biggest actors and some of the finest directors, they're coming together. How was the experience of just collaborating with these artists?
First, I think we should thank all of them because they've really gone out of the way to be a part of this project and work for it and tried their best and put in everything into it. I think, and it's a new experience for us to work with 9 different stories, 9 different directors, 9 set of actors. But it's been to collaborate with other filmmakers is so much easy. So where you can say and what you can say and give them enough rope to do the way they want to do also. So that balance was nice, was exciting. And all of us knew that it was for a specific purpose. And and within that, we wanted to do our very best. Now, wanted to make sure that each film would stand on its own.
Arvind Swamy became huge with Roja. Now he's making his debut as a director with Navarasa.
Yeah.
Tell us, what did you think was exciting in his story? That
I think all actors, in a way, are filmmakers. Some of them manage to take that step across if they care to. The rest don't. But each one of them is, in whichever form, trying to tell a story. And Arvind, I think, has been thinking in terms of making films for a bit. So now this was the opportunity for him to take a shot at it. And I think he's done, given his everything to it. And it would be a complete surprise to see what he has done. You know, very different from what you and I would probably think that he will do. And he's done it brilliantly.
right. And another one of your protege, A.R. Rahman, is part of the project as well.
A.R. Rahman is a world icon. He's not my prodigy. He's an icon. So, I mean, he was, I think that's anyone from the industry we could call and ask for this film, and we'd probably get an answer yes. And Rahman was the easiest of them. We just had to make a call, and he was ready to do whatever was required. So it was good to have him on board.
So, Mr. Jayendra, if you can please let us know how was the entire shooting process like? When is it that you guys shot for these various films, and how was the entire process like in terms of locations? Was it in Tamil Nadu, or was it shot outside as well of Tamil Nadu?
I think this entire production was done during the first wave and after the first wave, before the second wave of the COVID. So luckily we got away with a period which was not as severe as the second wave of COVID in India. But at the same time, we had to make sure every precaution was taken to shoot. We started by telling all the directors, try to keep your crew sizes small. But somewhere along the line, when there is a balance between what you want to create and what you creativity on one side and safety on the other, so you have to play a balance between these two and still maintain a crew that was of reasonable size for them to get their whatever they conceived on screen. So I think everybody went about it with absolute passion, and we have to say that we managed this entire production online, and it was great working with all the 9 directors and their crew to make all this happen. We had great executive producers in Wide Angle Creations who were managing the production. Suresh Balaji, George Fayers, and Aditi managing the executive side of the production. So it was good, and it was exciting.
Okay, in terms of locations, what are the locations that you?
Everybody shot mostly in Tamil Nadu. Yeah.
Mostly in Tamil Nadu. All right. Okay. All right. And Manisha, how's the process and the entire experience of collaborating with various directors and actors? I'm sure it must have been a very different experience from what you've been experiencing for 40 years now.
It's a completely different experience because you have the responsibility, but you don't have the burden. So it was exciting to work with 9 different people with 9 different kind of ideas and the way they approach a film and things like that. So it was, in a way, a good learning experience to know how much to hold back and how much to give in, and make sure that the product comes out, as well as it can.
So various rasas have been tackled in these 9 rasas have been tackled in this anthology. It is so and it's so amazing that you are helming it in terms of putting it together, because it is so fascinating that as a director you've never been bracketed in terms of that he makes one sort of cinema, maybe like say horror or like say period films or historicals. You've made all sorts of films, and basically you've been celebrated as a storyteller. How important is this epithet for you of being a storyteller, a communicator?
I think that's what we all do. I mean, that's why we are making films, to have stories that you can tell and tell it effectively. So I think they've been masters who have done only one kind of films and done extremely well for over a long time, and the rest who tried all kinds of films and try to keep themselves fresh. So I mean, this Navarasa kind of represents that, in the sense there are 9 different directors with completely different kinds of stories, different stratas, different genres the film fits into, and still it all has one honesty to it, and that's what binds it together.
Mr. Jayendra, you're having some really big names as far as actors are concerned. There's Surya, there's Vijay Sethupathi, Ashok Selvan is there, Mr. Prakash Raj, I believe, is part of it as well. These are big names. How's the experience of getting all of them together? I'm sure that, as you mentioned earlier, that everyone was willing to participate, but still, these are really big names, and it must have been quite a task of doing the coordinations for such huge stars.
Actually, when all these people accepted to be part of it spontaneously because it was for the industry, and when it was for the industry, like, we didn't have to manage them; they were giving to the industry. So it was really not a huge task on our hands to manage anybody, because they were giving to the industry spontaneously, willingly, on their own. So I think it is a joint initiative of the industry, and therefore everybody treated it like that, and gave like that, and took responsibility like that.
Mani sir, it is often said that the South industry, they are coming up with far better storytelling, even in terms of technology. They're having some amazing projects that have been put together when it comes to technology. What do you think is there in the South industry, and what is it that they're doing right, that somehow trailblazing cinema is coming out? A lot of South cinema is being remade in Bollywood and Hindi as well. What do you think you guys are doing right that is so remarkable?
I think we have one advantage, that we have smaller scale. We're not doing to a pan-Indian audience necessarily. So, we can do a film in Kerala which is set so deeply in Kerala, and you're not thinking whether it will be understood elsewhere. But the fact that it gets so nicely rooted makes it universal, makes it appeal. The honesty takes it across different regions completely. So I think that's a big advantage. You don't have to think of whether it'll work, in Punjab, and then whether it'll work somewhere in West Bengal. So it is not that, which is a constraint sometimes I think the Hindi films carry. And I think that's a very huge advantage that we have. Plus, I think there are a lot of new talent that is coming up, youngsters, a lot of writers who are coming. I think we are at the threshold of a huge change.
I say you have a unique distinction that you've told stories that have been pan-India many a times. Be it Roja was Kashmir, Bombay was, of course, Bombay. Yuva was Bengal. Dil Se was Northeast. How has it been important for you to tell these pan-India stories, and to also understand the nuances of various socio-political element that was so intrinsic to those stories?
I think as far as stories are concerned, I think anywhere that you can relate to, is a story that you can tell. So it should be something which you can connect to in terms of the genuineness, in terms of the emotion that is behind it. I think then the region becomes, a fact that you can learn. You can be there, you can, gather information, you can live there. I mean, the rest can be acquired, whereas the idea and the honesty should be something which is heartfelt. And moment you're able to make that connect, the rest is to do with research and to do with, understanding.
We were talking about the South cinema short while back, and so there's this unique distinction that you're having. You've worked with some amazing actors. And in an interview, you were asked that if you have to choose between Mohanlal and Kamal Haasan as your favorite actors, you said that you can't choose your favorite. And Mohanlal sir is a huge figure in Malayalam industry, and Kamal sir, of course, especially Tamil industry. What do you think is so special about these two actors that makes them so irreplaceable and giant?
They're very good. They're absolutely good. There's nothing more I can say. I mean, they're just fantastic. As a filmmaker, as a director, your job becomes so much easier when you have somebody like Mohanlal or Kamal in your set, to take care of it. It's such a pleasure. You enjoy it thoroughly to have somebody who's able to bring scenes across alive. I mean, and there are a lot of other actors who doing extremely well also. So I think it's I think it is it's when you have a very good actor who's also a star that becomes a big plus point.
Many a times you've given chances to a lot of newcomers and youngsters, and they've become so huge afterwards. Like say someone like Aditi Rao Hadri, I've spoken to her several times, and she's a huge fan of yours, and she's given some fantastic performances in your films. What is it that you look in newcomers that is and what she told me was that you are very good with actors in terms of making them feel very at ease, because anyone who comes in front of you, they have this awe factor around you, but you make them feel very, very comfortable. Why is it important for you to give chances to newcomers and make them be themselves?
I look at it this way. I'm not giving a chance to a newcomer. I don't think of it that way. In some films and some characters work very well when you have an established actor. I think it works very well. Whereas with certain other characters, you feel a newer face will help you. So as a director, you're just a selfish person. You do what is good for the film, and if a new face will add more value to the film, then you go for a new face. It's not that you're saying I'm giving break to new people. That is not the goal. The goal is to make a good film. So when you pick a new face, then then you try to get whether once you picked and you started working, doesn't matter whether they're established or they're new. You're just trying to work together. It's an actor and a director. So just that equation that you work on and make sure together we are able to convert something which is on paper into a real life character.
But you apparently shoot for auditions for a few of your actors yourself. Like you shot for the audition of Madhavan, Maddie, and that is something which is unheard of as well. That because mostly that is something that is done by assistants.
I think that's the easiest thing to do. Unless you are going to do plenty of auditions, in which case you get it done and then you see and shortlist it. But at some point of time, you have to deal with the actor. You have to audition with them, see whether you work well together, and otherwise it's very difficult.
Mr. Jayendra, when it comes to the theatrical business of movies, what is your estimate that by when do you think things are going to get better? We've had a very positive example of Master as far as Tamil industry is concerned, that it has done really well. Be it in Tamil Nadu or Kerala, it has done exceedingly well. So when do you think maybe things may get better, and what is the future of theatre business?
I think cinema is here to stay for a very, very long time. I don't think cinema is not going away anywhere. But it is a question of in the immediate future, how is it going to perform? I'm sure that it is going to have fits and starts because of you don't know when the next wave is going to be and how long it's going to last. So I think once we get through the pandemic, I think cinema will be back in its form that it is something that I don't think people are going to run away from.
All right. But you're hopeful that things will get better?
As good as anybody else in terms of how we get through this pandemic. But once the pandemic is done, I'm very confident that cinema will be back in a big way.
Mani sir, in the last 1 year or so, since the pandemic, we have spoken to a lot of directors and actors in the South industry, because the movies they're releasing on OTT platforms and they are being watched by everyone. Now, do you look at this entire, in a way, change of sorts, the way it has been happening? The language is no more a barrier, and people are enjoying and watching good cinema, irrespective of the region or the language. Do you find that like a progressive and a positive step in the right direction as far as in a country like India, with
Yeah,
so many languages?
yeah, 100%. I think the desire was always there. Only there was no way that you could watch a Bengali film here in Chennai. Now that is possible. So it opens up avenues. It opens up, the as a film goer, it opens up the world to me. I can see anything which is out there, which I like, and I can follow. So I think it's a big plus for the filmmakers.
Your next film is once again, it's a big film, but can we see you directing proper film or like a series for any OTT platform? Is that something that you would want to do, sir?
Yeah, as long as I have a story to say, which will be right for it, definitely, 100%.
Thank you so much, sir. Lovely talking to you, both of you, and thank you very much. And looking forward to Navarasa. And thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.